Welcome, Kings and Queens, Days Designs 107. I hope that you did like that preview, and that is the preview of the tutorial for today. And we're going to be making this 3D space scene, and it's really cool, and I hope that you do enjoy the tutorial. Just taking a look at the project file here, it is pretty simple. We have a basic camera, the adjustment layer for the what it's called, CC, and we also have like some more basic stocks, and basically it's just a layers of 2D images giving that 3D look, and it's really cool. So let's get straight into the tutorial. No mussing around. So we're going to go to composition, new composition. We're going to name this composition tutorial. Preset's going to be HDTV 1080p 40 frames per second, duration 15 seconds. We're going to press OK and make sure the background solid is black. You can also change the settings at any time by going to the composition settings, or pressing Control K or Command K on your keyboard. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to right click down in this little area, and then we're going to press new solid. We're going to make the solid settings name planet, just because it's always important to organize yourself when you're making a project. We're going to make the color black for the background, and the width 1920 and the height 1080p, same as our document size. So the first effect and preset that we're going to add is some turbulence. So we're going to type in turbulence. Turbulence, if I can spell it. Turbulent noise, and you're going to drag it onto the solid. So we're going to add some settings to this. So we're going to add the fractal type to small bumps. I found that this will work the best, and you can always change the fractal type anytime you want. You're going to change the noise type to spline, and you're also going to change the complexity to 10. Now with the sub settings, we're going to add some different subscaling to 59. Now the next is we're going to play with the contrast. So we're going to add some of these details. So we're going to make the contrast about 70. And we're also going to come back to the contrast and edit these also. The brightness is going to be on -29. And we're going to work on some more effects now. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make this stuff into a sphere. So we're going to type into our effects and preset sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E. And we're going to get CC sphere. We're going to double click on that, and it's automatically going to apply that effect on our layer. Now, for the settings, we're going to add some different types of numbers and, details to make it look a bit more pretty. So, to add some settings and make it a bit more prettier, we're going to add some color. So we're going to go to Colorama. You can also use different types of settings. It doesn't really matter. Whatever floats your boat. We're going to double click on Colorama, and we're going to drag this above our CC sphere effect. That's pretty important to drag it above. If you don't, you're not going to get the effect that you're going to like. Now we're going to go to the output cycle for the Colorama, and we're going to change this to Rusty. Now guys, you can add whatever one you want. You can go RGB, you can go negative red, whatever effect you like. Fire's pretty cool, fire and smoke. Whatever one you want, I don't care, but Rusty is the one that I'll be using for today's tutorial. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some detail that we like on this effect. So we're going to crank up the contrast to like 73. I found that works best. And we're also going to go down to the brightness, and we're going to change this down to -18. Now we can go down to the transform and go to a scale, and we can move this slider to something where we like, and this is going to add some more detail. So I found that I want bigger craters in my planet, so I'm going to do 209 for an example, and that's going to make a nice big crater there, and it's going to add that detail that we do like. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some effects and also edit some effects. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to edit the lighting that's on this planet. So to do this, we're going to close that down, our turbulent noise effect, and also our colorama, and we're going to go back to our CC sphere. Now with the settings of this, we're going to open up light, and we're going to make the light intensity 181. Now I've written all these down, so this is what's going to make the best, thing work out for you guys. So you can also come back and edit these settings whenever you want. See, that's already making quite a nice light intensity. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the light direction to 1 And we're also going to change the light height to 28. Now, with the shading, we're going to edit some of these settings. So we're going to change the ambient to 19. And we're also going to change the diffusal to 79. And the specular to 50. This is going to add a little heat spot for us. Now, we're also going to change the metal to 58. So, with that little specular, it's going to add that place where the light direction is coming from. But, we want to avoid to not overcook this place, but also at the same time, add that nice effect. So, I might change the angle of this down to like 19. So it's coming from this direction, because if you look back on us, we added that lens flare to add in that light. So we're gonna do it like somewhere 19, and we can also make the light height a bit higher or a bit lower, the light intensity. We want to avoid not to overcook this place. That is a big key thing, and we're gonna change the ambient down to 35. It's always about the settings that you like, guys. It's not about the settings that I'm using also. Okay, next up, we're going to add a curves. So we're going to go down to effects and preset and type in curves. C-U-R-V-E-S. Double click on that or just drag it onto our layer. And we're going to pump down the blacks a little bit, pump up the brightness a little bit. And we're also going to drag this end point a bit like that. That's making this really nice red planet kind of feel. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a tint. But before we do that, we're going to go down to our channel and change the red settings. Next up is we're going to edit the red, like I said before. And we're just going to drag this a little bit down, flush the highlights, and drag up the shadows a little bit. So now we're going to fine tune some of these settings a little bit. If you want, you can go. Remember, any point in time in the tutorial, you can always edit the, settings. But what I might do is I might make the sphere a little bit larger by going down to our CC sphere, and I'm going to make the radius probably 250. Not too large, but not too small, just right in the middle size. We want to make our planet the main object of our document. So now we're going to add a tint layer, color correction. We're going to double click on that. We're going to change the amount of tint to like 27, and that's going to make a nice orange or oblique color. And, that's something that we're going for. We're going for a rustic look. Next up is to add the clouds or nebula look to the scene. So what you see is like that cloud effect. What I did here is I got some stocks from Google Images, and as you guys can see in this thumbnail, here are the stocks. Now, you're going to need 2 cloud stocks or 3, whatever you want. I'm going to be using 2. And what you're going to do is you're going to drag this onto your document. So the first one that you're going to drag onto your document is, anyone you really want, whatever you want. So I'm going to drag this one onto my document. I'm going to resize this one to kind of fit my document, but I don't want it to be just on, because when we make it 3D and we do camera movements, you'll be able to see the end of the picture. So make sure it's a bit out of the document size. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a tint to it by double clicking there, and we're also going to add in a curves. And with the curves, we're going to drag down the black, and we're going to crush the blacks, almost like it's getting rid of everything else, like there. And we're also going to drag up the brightness a little bit, make these stand out a bit more, and get rid of that unwanted clouds that we don't want, like that. Then we're going to change the blending mode. So to do this, we're going to toggle on switches to mode until we get the mode come up. We're going to turn this to screen, and that's what it's going to do. It's going to punch through the blacks and let us see our object. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the opacity. So we're going to press T while this layer is selected, and we're going to make this opacity 35. Press OK. And it's going to make that. You can also change the opacity. I'm probably going to do 40 or 39 in this case. It just really depends on the stock what you've got. All different cloud pictures are all different like that. Now I'm going to bring in my next cloud picture. I'm going to drag it onto here. I'm going to go back to my original cloud picture before. I'm going to shift click both of these effects, press Ctrl C, and I'm going to select this layer and press Ctrl V. And with this one, I'm going to turn off this one so I can see what cloud I'm working with. And it looks like it fits on the document quite fine, and I'm pretty happy with that. So, oh, it's way too big. So I'm gonna drag this down to like here or whatever, probably like that size. And I'm gonna drag the curves a bit more up like that, and drag the brightness like that. Just something what you're looking for, like here. Okay, now we're going to change the blending mode to screen, like we did on the other one. And we're also going to change the opacity by pressing T down to like 39. 39 is good. Now we are going to change the position of this so the clouds are wrapping around the sphere. So to do this, we're going to grab our top one, we're going to press P with the position, or you can just simply rotate the picture. I forgot how to rotate it. Transform, or you press R on your keyboard and grab up the rotation. And we're gonna rotate this like that. Now, this isn't wrapping around it like I want it to, so I'm gonna resize it like this. Bam. And then with the bottom one, I'm gonna drag this a bit down. Resize that up like that. And we've got some rotation wrapping. Switch this around like that, and you're going to rotate this right around like that. Now we are going to add a camera. So to do this, we're going to go to layer, new camera. We're going to make it 35 millimeters. Don't worry about this. This stuff is like pretty cool. It's really cool how they give you all the measurements and that, but I'm just going to press OK. Make sure it's 35 millimeters. But before we do that, we're going to make all the layers 3D. So what we're going to do is we're going to toggle on switch modes and click this little box here, make them all 3D, and we're going to close all these arrows, and we're going to make the camera. So we're going to right click here, new camera, press OK on that. I'm going to rename this to camera. Now I'm also going to rename these stocks, so because I want to name these clouds, and then I'm also going to name this clouds 1. Now with this position, I'm going to press P on my keyboard, and I'm going to change this position to negative 750. Now what's this going to do? It's going to layer this image backwards. So if you imagine you have a 3D box and a 3D cube, and your frontal face gets pushed back 1 millimeter. So that's going to get pushed into the cube. This is what we're doing. So we're going to push a layer backwards into a cube. So we're going to push this negative 750. Now this is obviously going to mess with the scaling, so we're going to press S on our keyboard, and we're going to scale this back down to like 667. And with clouds 1, we're going to press P on our keyboard also, and we're going to press negative 1500. Now this is going to change the scaling a lot. It's going to go off the picture, so we're going to press S again on our keyboard and resize this all the way down to something that fits on the document. Something like that. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some camera movements, but to do this, we're going to control the camera with a null object. So we're going to right click on this box, go to new, and then we're going to go null object. Now we're going to, before we make the camera movement and keyframe it, we're going to get the pick whip and pick it to the null from the camera layer. Now we're going to add some keyframes by pressing P on our keyboard and change the position of this. But before we do edit the position of the null, we need to turn it into 3D mode, and we're going to press P on the position, and then we're going to go to the end frame by pressing this button up here, and then we're going to change the position down to like 500, and that's going to zoom in. But this is way too zoomed in, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit, like that. That's good. So 360 or 362, actually probably 350, I don't know, something, oh shit, that's 35, 350, even that's actually probably 500. That's actually a good measurement, 500, so it totally reveals the thing. So now what we have is, if I render this in like third, what we have is this camera movement nicely zooming in, and it gives that 3D depth, like as you guys can see, looks 3D. Look at this. See, it's giving that 3D images what we've worked hard for. So we're also going to add some more stocks into this this composition and different things like that. So to do this, I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back. Now we're going to add a backdrop to our settings. So to do this, if you guys have seen some space pictures, scientists have been able to make amazing pictures from space called nebulas or other galaxies. And this is my picture that I have for you guys. It's a stock that I found on Google Images, and my After Effects just froze. And this is going to be my backdrop. So to do this, I'm going to import it. So to do that, you're going to open up your picture in After Effects. You're going to drag this on the bottom behind your planet, and we're going to scale this up to our document size like this. Bit larger. Remember to scale everything a bit larger. I'm going to make this full for now. And we're going to press P on our keyboard, and we're going to make this a 3D layer, and we're going to send this back 10,000. Yes, I said 10,000. That's going to send it right back, and then we're going to resize this a bit larger, like that. Now, we want the planet to be kind of leading in with this backdrop, so we're going to make it line up with the lines and have some interaction with the background. That's pretty cool. And yeah, we're like gods making an awesome scene. I'm also going to add some curves. So to get the curves, I'm just going to drag it onto our nebula stock, crush the blacks, pull up the highlights, crush the blacks a little bit more. Could go crazy, but I'm going to crush it like that far, and then I'm going to go like that. Okay, so now we have a backdrop on our document. What we're going to do is we're going to add some stars. This is pretty important because of, you know, space has a lot of stars on it. So we're going to right click, go to new, we're going to make it solid. We're going to make the solid background white. Whatever color you make the background solid, that's going to be the color of your stars. So you can make it blue, whatever. I'm just going to make it white. And I'm going to name this Starfield. Starfield, I guess that's how you name it. And we're going to go grab up a CC Starburst. CC Starburst. This is under the simulation tag. We're going to double click on this. It's going to add it to our thing. And we're going to add some settings to this. But at the moment, as you guys can see, the layout is 3D. And it's also on our document. We're going to drag this out a bit. So we're going to make this a 3D layer. And what's this going to do? It's going to give those stars some depth. So as you guys can see, the stars are moving. But if you don't make it 3D, it's just going to look like it's a 2D image, which is not good. We're also going to make the speed of it to 0, because we don't want the stars to be moving, but because of we're making camera movements, it'll be going through the stars very slowly, and it's also going to have that movement. So we're going to preview that. See, it's going to look in like that. Now we're going to change the amount of stars because of, I think this is way too much. So we're going to change the size. This is going to change the amount down to 50. And we're also going to drag this down below our camera here. And we're also going to change the position. So we're going to press P on our keyboard. Now we're going to make the stars more close to the camera. So we're going to change the position to -500. And we're also going to duplicate this. Press Ctrl C, press Ctrl V. And we're going to press P, and we're going to make this a bit more further away from the camera, so 500. It's going to make 2 different layers of the stars, like that. We're going to size it up a bit, like that. And we're also going to solo these layers. It's going to make it easier for us to work with it. And the size of this one, we're going to change it to like, down to like that. And we're also going to change the scatter down to like 100 or like that. So I think that the scatter's going to work at 650 the best. And also I've worked off this off camera, and also the size is going to be probably 50. And with the original Starfield, we're going to also change the scatter to 220. Or, yeah, 220. And yeah, now when we use our camera, I think that's a good amount, and you'll see that the stars on your own document, it'll be glittering, and that's going to add that, you know, really nice effect. Now we're going to unsolder these layers, and we're going to look at our scene. Now, I think that's looking quite good. Now we're going to add a glow to our planet, because if I think this is looking a bit flat, you know, it just looks like a circle with some shading on it. So we're going to add a glow on it. Stylized glow. We're going to click on our planet layer, and we're going to double click on the glow, and we're going to edit these settings. And we're going to edit some of these settings. So we're going to go down to the glow basin to alpha channels. We're going to make the glow threshold to 19.6. We're also going to make the glow radius 68. And we're also going to make the glow intensity 0.6. Now, you can tweak these to your heart's content. It's none of my business telling you how much you want or how much you don't want. Just tweak it as much as you want. So now we're going to add some awesome effects. Now, that awesome effect is the lens flare, the pulsing light. So we're going to right click and we're going to go to New, Solid. And the solid color is going to be black as the background color. We're going to name this name the lens or star, whatever you want to call it. Star hashtag. We're going to put this on the top. And we're also going to add a lens flare. So we're going to go to Effects and Preset and add your own lens flare. Now, obviously, there are awesome third-party plugins that generate awesome lens flares. I'm going to be using the standard one, the poor man's route. And we're also going to make the center down to like here somewhere. And we're also going to change the blending mode, so that we're going to go down, toggle the switches on, and we're going to make the blowed screen. That's lighten. We're going to make it screen. Remember, that's going to clash the blacks, and we're going to try and line it up with our light source. And we're also going to try and line this up with the star field. So we're going to press P on our keyboard, and we're going to make this a 3D layer. And we're going to make the position of it to 500. Now this is going to descale the lens flare, so we're going to resize it up to like this size. Something like that. And we're going to change the direction of it down to like here somewhere. And we're also going to change the lens type down to 500, 105mm prime lens. Now, to add a bit of flare with this lens flare, once you made your final render, what you're going to do is you're going to make this wiggle. But before we do that, we're going to change the flare brightness down to 40%. That's going to turn it right back down. You can change this to your heart's content, and then I'll click the flare brightness, and we're going to type in this expression. So we're going to go wiggle, bracket, 5, comma, bracket, and then we're going to click off. So now that is wiggling the lens flare. Now you can solo this star layer by pressing here, and as you guys can see, it's wiggling. So it's coming in and out, and it's pretty cool. It's a nice little pulse. Nice little edit. So now we're gonna make this actually looking nice. Now this looks not nice with all the layers that we played in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add like a color correction like would you do in Photoshop. So to do this, we are going to add an adjustment layer by right clicking, go to New Adjustment Layer, and we're gonna add some effects and presets such as tint. I'm gonna type in tint in effects and presets. We're gonna double click that. And we're gonna, okay, so originally this is looking a bit crazy, so we're gonna just pull this all together by changing the amount of tint to like 30 seconds. We're just gonna neutralize it a bit more. We're gonna add curves, and this is like a real, you know, actual color correction. And we're gonna also change the settings on the, so we're gonna go into the blue channel, and we're gonna, you can do whatever settings guys you want. If you want it to make a red scene, you can drag this up, drag this one up, and we're gonna drag this one up like here, or like that makes it a bit orangey, or like that. Now we're also gonna go down to the RGB panel, and we're going to drag this one down a bit, and we're gonna drag this one down a bit. We're also gonna go down to the green channel, we're gonna drag this one down a bit like here, make it a bit purple, pump that up a bit, and we're gonna go down to the red channel. And you can make it like purple. Looks really nice like this. And we've got our color correction. Now we can RAM preview this. So to do this, I'm just going to change the quality down to 3rd. I'm going to press RAM preview button. It's going to quickly RAM preview how much my RAM will allow. It's probably going to allow quite a lot because I have quite a lot of RAM. It's going all the way up to like 15 seconds. It's pretty crazy. Right, so now this is our, effect. I'm pretty happy with it currently, but what we have to do now is we have to make the camera not just move in, we're going to make it turn. But you see there's a problem because of, if you guys remember when we made this planet, it's just a circle. So what we have to do is we have to make this parallax thing, and this was actually quite hard because when I was making this effect by myself, I'm like, well, this is a 2D layer and we have to make it into 3D, so we need to make it a parallax. Now there is an expression out there provided by Video Copilot, so big thanks to them, because without them guys I wouldn't have been able to make this tutorial. So it was coming to the near at the end of the effect and I was like, well, what do I do? So they helped me, and this is the expression that we'll be using. Now these expressions is under the we're going to change it in the CC sphere effect. So what you have to do is you have to go onto your layer of your planet, then go to CC sphere, and then go to the rotation. I'm going to close all these arrows. It's going to make it much more easier for us. And we're going to alt click all of these. So we're going to go to X rotation, and we're going to type in this expression, value plus look capital A at T bracket this capital C comp dot active capital C camera dot T capital W world bracket O 0 comma 0 comma 0 no 0 bracket another bracket comma position bracket 0 bracket. Now guys, this expression will be on screen now, so if you do want to use this expression, it's really important for the tutorial, so I do recommend it. And you click off screen, click off the layer to make the expression. Now if you wrote the expression wrong, it will come up with a little error sign, and just double check that you wrote the expression correctly. So now once we've got that expression written out, we're going to alt click on the rotation Y, and we're going to paste that expression in, but we're going to change the number at the end to 1. Whoa. I'm going to click off, and we're also going to alt click on the rotation for X, paste that expression in, and we're going to change the number to 2. And we're going to click off screen. So now when we make a rotation with the camera movement, it's going to make the planet 3D, so that's going to be really cool. Now what we have to do is we need to audio orientate the planet, so we're going to close this down, right click, go to transform, audio orientate towards camera, press OK, and now if we solo this layer and we make camera movements, it's 3D. Look how awesome that is. So now we actually need to make camera movements. Now to do that, we need to go back to our null object, because remember that was paired to our camera and that's how it moves it. Now we need to not move it forwards, we need to move it sideways. So to do this, we press P on our keyboard. Not P, but actually the rotation. So we need to press R, and we need to go down to our Y rotation. So we go 4 seconds in to our project, or in about 4 seconds. And we're going to press the keyframe here, and then we're going to go back to our first frame, and we're going to make this one -3. Now make sure when you make it -3 that you don't have any of the other layers going out, because I'll show you an example, guys. This is an extreme, so if you go for an example -43, see how it's starting to show all the layer slides? We don't want that. That's bad. We want to just show -3, because if that's not going to go too far, and that's going to have it perfectly how we want it. So it's going to have that rotation what we want, and it's going to be slowly moving in. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're basically finished up this project. So we're going to add it to our render queue and add some music. So you can preview this and, you know, see how your project's working. It's going to take a little bit of time to render. And basically what we have done is we have made our space scene. So to add this to our render queue, there's a lot of questions in After Effects. Well, I've made the tutorial, so how do I add it? So I go to File, and then you're going to go to Export, Add to Render Queue. Now, we're going to change some of these settings. So we're going to go down to our render settings. We're going to make sure that the quality is on best. You always want it on best. Full resolution, disk catch, read only, and everything like this. You can change the frame rate, everything like that. If you want to render it in 60 FPS, that's fine. I'm going to make it AVI. I'm going to press OK, and I'm also going to change the output wherever I want to save it. So I'm going to click on the output name, and I'm going to change the name and save it. And then I'm going to press render, and once I've pressed render, it's going to render it out, and it's going to save wherever you put the output to. Now guys, once you've rendered it, it might make the file large. So here's an example. Here's the original file. It rendered to 2 GB in size. If you want to change the size of that, you're going to go to Handy Break. So to do this, you're going to open up a new window in your Internet Explorer. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to save everything like this. And I'm going to make a new window. And you're going to be using Handy Break to compress it. So we're going to go to handbrake.com, or you could just type that into Google Chrome. Sorry, my computer's lagging a bit. And we're going to go to google.com, so by typing in www.google.com. And you're going to type in Handbrake. And this is our compressing software that I mentioned a couple times in my previous videos. And you're going to download this. It's totally free, and you're just going to download it. And then once you've downloaded it and installed, I'm not going to show you how to install. You should be able to install programs, and just click on it. Sometimes it takes a bit of a time to open, you know, everything is recording for me, and I closed my After Effects and everything like that. So we're going to grab our source file. So you're going to grab the file that you rendered in After Effects. So you're going to drag it onto here, click and drag it. That's all we have to do, and it's going to start scanning the actual file. And then I'm going to make sure that the video is on 20 RF, or the quality is on 20 RF, and you're going to leave everything else like that. And then you're going to destination, you're going to browse, click browse, and you're going to save it to somewhere, make a name for it, press A, save, and then you're going to press start. And it's going to start to render it, and then once it's finished, you can open up a compressed version of it. So here's the compressed preview that I have for mine. I can't preview it, but you guys saw it in the beginning of the video, and I do hope that you enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button if it did help you in any sort of way. Another After Effects tutorial will be coming out the day after this is uploaded, because I want to make a lot of After Effects tutorials, a lot of motion tutorials. I'm more better in Photoshop, but I want to start getting better at After Effects, so I enjoy making them also, so that's the most important part. So thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you guys soon, and subscribe for more videos. Peace.